Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast where we have digital discussions, the worlds of pop culture, social media, sports, TV, film, and music videos, everything really. Peter Remoliotis here on Twitter. You all know me as PD Beats. My guest this afternoon is, she does a lot of things. She's a writer, director, music video director, actress, does so many things. We're going to talk about a bunch of her projects. We're with Marlene Rhein. Marlene, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you, Pete. Great to be here. Great to be on your podcast.
No, absolutely. Let's, as an icebreaker, when did you kind of decide that, writing, directing, acting was something you wanted to do? Was that at an early age?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, I think I was like 5 years old or something, and my parents couldn't find a babysitter, so they took me to this adult party. And at the time, Michael Jackson was big and he was playing, and I got out on the dance floor, the living room dance floor, and I just fell in love with music, and I fell in love with performing, and I kind of knew from a young age, like, creativity and music and expressing myself to it was going to be my life.
Mm-hmm. So music was like your first love, so to speak?
Yeah, dancing, I think. Dancing was my first love.
Okay, very cool. And speaking of music, I mean, you have directed some pretty significant and pretty known music videos, including Tupac Shakur's last music video before he passed away. What was that like? I mean, there's so many questions, but I mean, to work with artists of that magnitude must have been unbelievable.
It was crazy because I think I was always like a very shy person. But when it came to music and creativity, that's where my confidence always was. So I remember it was 1996, and Tracy Robinson was representing me at the time, and she said, "We're going to go out to Malibu. We have a meeting with some of Tupac's people." And I thought it was going to be, a video for one of the other artists on his label or something. And there I was, like, at this big round table with Tupac and all these dudes, and I was the only white chick, the only female there, and like suddenly, I'm directing this $300,000 video in 1 week, and it was crazy. I was nervous. I think I lost like 20 pounds from not eating. But it was so cool to just be hanging out with this guy who turned out to be very down to earth, and like he was who he was. He was very real, and we got along great. But sometimes I was just like, oh my God, like I'm on this set, we're shooting 35 millimeter. There's like supermodels here, and he's hanging out in the trailer, inviting me to get stoned with him, which I didn't. I should have. In retrospect, that would have been a cool story. Yeah. But I was like nervous, like, no, I have to do a good job on directing. It was crazy, but it was big,
And what goes into making a music video that people might not know about? I mean, people know, a lot of music videos have stories, and there's, acting involved in it, then the music hits in. But what are some of the things that you kind of learn from doing music videos that people maybe don't know about, like the process?
Well, what happens, first of all, is the record label will send you and several other video directors the track to kind of, you don't get paid for it. You have to go off and think of your story, your take on it, unless it's a really huge artist. And in that case, like with the Tupac video, they already have an idea in mind. But for the most part, you'll go off. I'll go to Starbucks or something, and I'll sit there with my cappuccino and my headphones and really passionately think of what's the best idea for this. And if in the lucky event that you're chosen, you then have to put in a budget, and before you know it, you're there on set, on location. And in many cases, like when I was working in London, you'd fly off to France or Africa or Jamaica to shoot a video. And it's an incredible thing where you get to be, I think more so than any other craft, you get to be like so free with your artistry in terms of shooting visual poems to music. A lot of work involved, and it's like a product, it's like a commercial where you put forth your idea, and then they say, well, we have this 13 to 15-year-old audience. Can we make it more this? And then you remember, this isn't my personal art project. It's tailored, it's like a commercial.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. Yeah, you mentioned Tupac, but also you've worked with other fantastic artists as well, like Amy Winehouse. How was that to work with Amy?
That was very cool. She was very much like her own person. She did her own makeup. We shot that in Brick Lane in London in 2004, and that was before she really hit it big in the States. But very cool. She was very confident, in her artistry and what she liked, which profile to use of hers, but very willing to go with a totally creative idea. Very, very cool chick.
I can't even imagine the process of a music video because there's so many components that probably go into it. There's so many people involved in it. There's the artists, there's the directors, the writers, the musicians. It's just it's crazy to hear. So that's really cool to hear that. I mean, must be like a blast from the past talking about this, but we'll kind of
Yeah.
segue more to current projects of yours, like a web series that you created, you wrote, I believe you starred in the first episode,
Yes.
which is called the So So You Don't Know.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because the web series landscape right now is huge.
Yeah, a lot of people are making web series. And for me, it's interesting because I always kind of wanted to just go for making films, indie films. But I was seeing this guy, if you could call it that, and he, like so many people I've met in New York, don't want a relationship. And I was like, wait a minute, it's a city of 8 million people, and there's this profound loneliness that I've experienced firsthand. And the idea that it's so hard to find people to connect, like really connect with. I just was in such a dark place that I was either going to self-destruct or write a comedy about it, and I chose the latter. And so I did it. I created this web series where there's a therapist, and she's the only recurring character. A lot of people say it's like the show High Maintenance, where there's the pot dealer, and he's the only recurring guy. So there's a therapist, and every episode features a different New York character who comes in for therapy, but it pretty much touches on the very human condition of everyone needing love, everyone needing to be recognized and seen. And so I wrote it kind of like the therapist was my higher self talking to me, saying, stop being depressed, stop looking for love outside of yourself, and find your self-esteem,
Hmm.
you know, within.
And
And
we're
that's how
and oh, sorry, continue.
it was created.
No, very cool. And I believe people can watch the episodes on the website, correct?
Yes, the so-so-you-don't-know.com.
And what's the backstory about the name?
Because I realized, like, after not dating this guy anymore, I was like, wait a minute, like he's a so-so. He's this average so-so. I don't even know him, but I put him on a pedestal because he doesn't want me. Like the more he wouldn't text me back, the more I needed him to text me back. The more he like pushed me away, the more I needed him to like me. And it's like I realize he's just some so-so, but the fact is that we always go after what we can't have, and we, make these people bigger than what they are. They're so-sos.
I feel like every show, even if it's like or a movie, like the romantic relationship aspect of it's like takes over it in my opinion. Like Stranger Things on Netflix. There's always relationships with characters that blossom, and then that becomes kind of like the main storyline for a few episodes. I mean, The Walking Dead, for example, as well. So, what do you kind of think about um, the whole like romantic comedy aspect of things kind of coming in and taking over non-romantic comedy projects like that
It's a
aspect.
shame. Like I think one reason for creating the show was to get to what's real. Like I feel like in so many movies and TV shows you see where you think there's a cool artistic element, and then it goes off into this romanticism, and it's like, what about creating a show that real people can relate to because it's about real things that aren't talked about, like how broken we are on the inside and how vulnerable we all are. Like despite we're all trying to be cool, and everyone's like got this facade, and we put these pictures on Instagram, but like how about how broken we really feel, the stuff that we're not really talking about. So that was kind of what I was trying to do with this show.
What were kind of the reasons behind putting it on the web, making it a web series? I mean, there's a lot of options these days. There's a lot of eyes can kind of be on the web series because it's on YouTube or it's on a website or it's on Vimeo. Was that kind of the reasoning for putting it on the web, so like the accessibility and a wider audience?
Well, it was more so the fact that it's just something that I can do without going to a studio and waiting for someone else to give me money, waiting for permission to create something. like I've been in this industry a long time and I see how it works, and it has really so little to do with the good content you create. It's more about how many viewers do you have, and are you, is there buzz about you? Are you a Kardashian? Then we'll make your show. But so for me, it was like, what's something that I could just do in my own little world and put it out myself without anybody else's permission or money?
And a lot of, and it's one of those things too where it's not on a network or anything, right? So the whole thing about, there's been so many shows that have been canceled the last couple of weeks. It's been crazy. Does that kind of come into factor as well, like the creative control and the ability to kind of, if you want to do a season two, there'll be a season two.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, of course I do want to get it on a network just because I want thousands and thousands of people. It's like, you know, in a way, as an artist, I live in a lot of isolation. I'm in New York City, but I'm kind of my own little thing. I'm in a corner of a cafe, like doing my little story, and I want to reach so many people with it. And I want people to be touched by it and laugh at the jokes. But until that happens, it's kind of, I guess I have the joy of writing whatever I want and putting it out there.
What have been some of your favorite experiences with this web series? Like, what was kind of what you liked about it? Was it kind of the idea that this was something very important and close to you? You were able to kind of make it, and when you saw the final product, it was like, oh wow, like this is really up there in terms of some of the things I've done over the career. Like, talk about the impact the web series has had on you.
Sure. I think for the most part, the most exciting thing is sitting there writing something that works. That's something that you went through that was so dark, and something that you felt just totally broke you and made you so weak. And then suddenly that became the fodder for gold. It's like, holy cow, that works. Like, that's going to really, you get this feeling, you get high off of it. Like, this is going to really touch people. And it's like, thank God I went through that. Thank God that guy dissed me and didn't call me back, because I just created something really cool out of it. That to me is like the best part. It's in the writing. But then there's like when you have screenings or screening parties, and I'm a female writing this, and sometimes I'll have like a black guy come up to me and just say, "Wow, man, that made me cry. Like, I really felt that." And it's like, holy shit! Like, I'm to be able to affect people outside of your gender and your race and your age, to touch something so human, is such a gratifying thing. It just makes you feel like, holy cow, I'm doing the right thing.
No, absolutely. You mentioned writing, and when I watch a movie or when I watch a TV show, like, and I say, "Wow, like this is so good," and when people ask me why I think it's so good, I always go to the writing. I mean, the writing is always what I like. The I just saw a movie a couple of days ago called Game Night with Jason Bateman, and the writing was just like fantastic. What do you think, from your experience writing, makes a good script? Is it like, I mean, that might be a hard question to answer, but like, is there some elements that you can kind of point out?
It's really interesting that you bring up that question, because I feel like that's all I notice is the writing, and I get so frustrated as someone who spends so much time and is so hard on myself with creating excellent writing, to go to the movies or watch TV and just see some subpar writing. It's like, oh my God, like that's just not fair. You know what I mean? Because I feel like you owe it to people. You have them as captive audience for whatever period of time. Like, you have a job, if you have the talent, to touch their soul with yours. And I feel like what makes really good writing is being very real, and not living in the head, but living in the heart, and accessing your soul and what you've been through as a human being, to write with the intent to connect. I think that's what makes good writing, rather than, oh, this was a hit show, let's create something like this. People that haven't really lived life or haven't had challenges writing about stuff, you could feel it. It's fake. So people who have really been through shit, like, that's, and they're willing to share it with their writing, like, that's good writing.
What are you noticing from? I'm curious from so music videos. I mean, people are still making music videos, and a lot of bands these days that I interview, that are unsigned. They love music videos. They put like money aside to make a music video, and they believe that music videos are still a force. What do you kind of think about the landscape of music videos? Are we do you encourage artists to continue to make them? What do you kind of think about how music videos have transformed over the past couple of years?
I think that, like so many other things, they're such a powerful tool. Music videos are, it's like the perfect poetry. It's like music and visuals, and 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 words and feelings and vibe. But unfortunately, I just see so many crappy music videos. Every once in a while, there'll be something really cool, and it's like, oh my God, like for instance, Childish Gambino. Have you, like, that was pretty cool, you know, and
Oh
that was
yeah.
like the ability to take a music video and use it for all it's worth. And I just feel it's such a shame that most people don't create good shit, you know. But also because of the accessibility of the web, you can create something and have millions of people see it and not have to have a record label behind you and have to be on MTV or whatever. Um, I just wish that creators were taking more risks, or artists were taking more risks, instead of trying to make something that's just like something else or follow a fad, you know, but to do something authentic. Like, that's how you're going to reach people. And I still love the idea of a really great music video.
No, absolutely, no, for sure, for sure. It's interesting. As when's the last time you worked on a music video? I know you've been busy with the web series, but have you been doing music videos from time to time?
No, because I feel like at this point, you know, unless an artist approached me, I feel like if I'm going to spend my energy without much return, it's going to be on something that I truly love. And right now, it's this web series. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
No, absolutely. Well, I think we'll wrap up, Marlene. Thank you so much for joining us on
Thank
Pop
you, Pete.
Turnative. And
Thank you. Wait,
floor
did you
is
meet my bodyguard? That's my bodyguard.
oh, so
He's he's a,
bedhead.
yeah, he's a really tough pit bull, as you could see. Anyway.
Absolutely. The floor is yours to plug. Like, where can people, like you mentioned it? They can go to the website to watch a web series. Where can they follow you on social media? Plug away.
Sure. So on Instagram, it's the so you don't know. Also Instagram, Marlene Rhein. I'm on YouTube. I have other web series like My Parents Are Crazier Than Yours and Angry Gladys. It's YouTube, Marlene Rhein. Just look me up. But
Yep.
yeah,
No, awesome. Well, thank you, and all the best with the web series.
thanks so much, Pete. It was really great to talk to you.
No, for sure. Well, this has been Pop Turnative. You catch previous episodes, popturnative.com/popturnative for the video episodes. For the podcast, you could just go wherever you listen to podcasts, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify. We are there. Popturnative.com for brand new content as well. And until next time, this is Marlene Ryan and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popturnative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popturnative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popturnative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.